Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to Repeat Podcast with me, Hassan Rahman. So hari ni again kita ada another special guest and aku actually feel very honoured pasal aku managed to get this guest in a very short notice and also aku just nak share a few announcement dekat korang. Aku recently Alhamdulillah wife aku dah give birth. So for your information anak yang ke-6. Jadi aku will be quite busy but don't worry guys, aku still be able to do the recording and deliver this recordings dengan korang lah. So hari ni aku ada special guest, lain daripada lain sikit lah. Okay, for the first time in Repeat Podcast kita nak interview mak dengan anak. So dengan aku hari ni aku ada Susanti the mother and also dengan Haziq which is the son. Apa khabar korang? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you guys feeling?
Okay.
Okay lah.
Haziq nervous Haziq
A bit nervous lah.
Okay, don't worry. Just relax yourself because I think just make it like macam just have a normal conversation lah. Okay, I think maybe this is something new for you, right?
Yeah.
Especially to share something that not many people are comfortable sharing. Okay, so for your information, guys, actually how I managed to found out about both of them is where recently I saw your video dekat CNB. Okay, it's a CNB punya platform. Through TikTok dengan Instagram. Actually was my wife was the one who saw your video. So my wife cakap, you tengok video ni macam very touching. Jadi bila I tengok, it really touches me lah. It really touches me so deeply that I spoke to Haikal Malik lah. So I cakap dengan Haikal Malik, please get them for me. I want to interview them. Okay. So I think kita pun tak nak waste time lah because I want to know the story from the both of you. But maybe we can start with Susanti dulu. So I think before that, disclaimer guys, apa yang kita ceritakan ni adalah cerita lama, is in the past and also nothing for us to be proud and we are against drugs. Kita want to of course say no to drugs and we want to inspire and motivate for those of you guys who are struggling out there and battling with this addiction. So before that, Susanti, okay, thank you for coming by the way.
Okay. Thank you for inviting.
Yes, okay, so Susanti, I think this is the most cliche question lah.
Mm-hmm.
So kita gonna talk about drugs today and for you yourself, who introduced you to drugs? Macam kenapa you terjebak dengan Dada and at what age tu bila you start?
Basically, kalau nak cakap kenal apa tu Dada, daripada kecil lah. Because adalah family members yang terbabit.
Okay.
But I'm not into it. Until during my teenage pun ada nampak juga tapi tak minat lah benda tu actually.
Okay.
Kan?
Okay.
So until I was 17
17 tahun.
terjebak lah.
Okay. So daripada kecil sampai 17 tahun ni you are already bercampur dengan orang yang ambil.
Correct.
Tapi memang that time tak ada temptation.
Tak ada.
So it started from 17 years old.
Correct.
So what was kenapa you 17 tahun tu you boleh ambil tu?
Actually tak ada sebab lah kenapa I nak ambil. Cuma macam like nak try.
Okay.
So try pula I start out with cannabis.
Okay.
Yang orang panggil ganja kan. So I get the full punya feel of dia punya first feel tu lah. That make me hook to it lah.
So the first drug you took was ganja?
Yes, ganja.
And that time bila you ambil 17 tahun, were you with a pool of friends ke atau macam mana?
Few friends lah.
A few friends lah. And the feeling you suka ke atau macam
Suka.
Suka lah. Okay, faham. Tapi dia start from ganja.
Correct.
Tapi macam mana tu dia boleh slowly elevate to other drugs actually?
Exposure.
Okay.
So bila kita mula daripada ambil ganja tu, so bila kawan-kawan tu makin ramai kan. So daripada situ exposure tu ada. So contohnya kalau my side on ganja, so another side heroin.
Faham.
Another
Different
side
pool of people lah.
Correct.
Okay. Jadi tu yang terjumpa, then orang introduce this and that.
Yes.
Okay. Jadi lepas you dah, and how long, okay, tapi before the end, macam mana you punya upbringing? Means you punya sekolah semua macam mana dulu? Time you punya teenage?
Okay, during my teenage, I grew up in a broken family.
Okay.
My parents divorced when I was 8.
Okay.
I dijaga oleh mak I lah. Because then during my mom also a single mother kan. Jadi dia I tak menyalahi dia. Tapi during that time I selalu salahkan dia lah, pasal dia tak ada kat rumah. Cuma I tak faham at that moment that as a single mother, she need to go out and work.
Yep.
To feed us. Pasal kita ada 4 adik-beradik kan. So then on top of that, I start to macam, I think umur I 12, start bercampur-campur, kawan-kawan.
Kawan tu sekolah ke atau around your
kawan
block?
Luar.
Kawan luar. Mana you jumpa kawan-kawan ni?
Kawan sekolah, members dengan kawan luar. Jadi kat kawan luar tu lah. So I memang daripada dulu kecil, during my start up to mix around tu, I memang tak suka campur dengan budak sekolah. I lagi suka dengan budak luar.
Faham. Sama lah kita.
So from there, during I think when I was 14, then my mom tak boleh control I. Asyik keluar. Ada moment tu she felt that I lari daripada rumah. Masa seminggu I tak balik. By right, niat I tu I tak lari daripada rumah. I just want to go out, pasal rumah I seorang aja. So every time now and then I always feel lonely.
Faham.
Asyik macam rasa kesorangan, So I find my happiness kat luar lah.
With friends lah kira. Itu pula 17 tahun, then you were introduced into this cannabis.
Yeah.
And then that's where where
start
you all started lah. Tapi bila you dah ambil ganja tu, you cakap tadi yang you dah start campur dengan different pool of people. Kira macam okay, dia ni geng-geng ambil ganja. Lepas tu dia ni pula geng-geng ambil. Okay, so the next drug yang apa yang you ambil selepas you dah isap ganja? Okay,
daripada ganja tu, then after that I go for ice.
Okay.
Ice. When during I start out with ice, kira dah macam-macam lah. Sejuk, panas, ecstasy, heroin, all this kind of
drugs. Rojak juga Kita panggil 7-Eleven lah tu
7-Eleven, kedai mama.
Semua ada. Yang this group of people tu literally semua drugs orang ada lah.
Yes.
And ini is a pot lepak rumah ke atau like chalet ke atau macam mana?
No. Okay, I can say that yang I kenal, the ones that have all these, right, is actually someone close to me lah.
Okay, faham.
Okay, so jadi benda senang dapat. Senang dapat lah.
Senang jatuh lah.
Senang jatuh. Then dah jatuh bawa balik lah. So most of the time I at home.
Okay, I see. Tapi yang bila, because I think some people, orang yang tak ambil drugs ni, sometimes like they orang tak boleh relate atau orang tak boleh faham macam, okay, kau dah try ni benda, kenapa kita nak macam try other things? Is it because of the thrill? Is it because macam dah boring ke apa ke? You get what I mean, right? Macam benda ni dia always start from basic. Tapi dia tak ada orang yang start from basic, dia stop dekat sana. Dia start from basic, slowly dia escalate, dia ambil bigger drugs, and tu yang dia jadi addiction, and yalah dia yang susah dia nak stop all this. Tapi daripada lepas you dah ambil ganja, then that's where it goes to ice. How was the feeling like that point of time? Terbegit Elio
Okay, when I dah pergi ke upgrade
upgrade
to ice tu, ganja tu dah rasa macam rokok lah. The feel.
Faham.
Ganja tu dah rasa macam rokok. Kira dah tak isap rokok. Rokok tu ganja lah kan. So then after that, I active.
Aktif macam mana tu?
Dah kena sejuk, selalu aktif kan.
Faham. Okay.
So I think at that moment I start kerja malam, if I'm not wrong lah. I work as a cash punya what is it called kira duit lah. Kira duit. Okay, so it's a night shift. So macam start tu lah.
To keep yourself awake, you perlukan benda ni. Okay. And then bila slowly you dah into ganja, and then followed by the next, bila upgrade lah kira
upgrade lah sana.
Dah upgrade kan. Jadi bila tu yang you angkat sampai you kena tangkap?
Okay, I kena tangkap tahun 2011.
Okay.
So I think
you boleh cerita tak macam mana you boleh kena tangkap? What's the story behind this kena tangkap ni?
Okay, I was with one of the pusher lah. Yang tolak barang ni. So that time diorang pecahkan barang kat satu apartment lah.
Okay.
So I kena kat tu apartment.
Diorang tengah pecah, kira how do we put in another term, kira diorang tengah sorting out the stuff. Okay. Habis kebetulan you kat dalam rumah tu.
Correct. I was there.
Habis kena raid dengan CNB.
Yeah.
Tak expected.
No, actually it's not CNB. It's CID if I'm not wrong.
Kenapa dia naik rumah tu?
Tak tahu kenapa dia naik.
Tapi bukan CMB but CID
Yes, correct.
So berada kat rumah tu Dari time barang tengah banyak
Tak banyak.
Okay,
tak
okay. So then that's where they raided that house.
Correct.
And unfortunately for you dekat sana.
Yeah.
Berapa lama tu you were consuming drugs yang you tak kena tangkap?
Lama juga. Daripada 17 tahun I kena tangkap umur 30 lebih.
Oh, baru kira means you ambil 17 years old. At 30 years old baru you kena tangkap.
I think 32, 33.
Oh, lama juga kira. Tak ada macam almost kena tangkap ke during this. Tak pernah kena tangkap. Habis you tak ada cari risau ke macam aku pergi rumah dia ni dia kena tangkap?
Tak.
Because I think for yourself mesti banyak kawan-kawan terdekat you pun kena tangkap kan. Tapi for you memang tak kena tangkap. Oh, so that was the first time yang you kena tangkap at the house bila kena raid.
Correct.
You boleh share tak you punya journey? Pasal kita selalunya jarang-jarang kan selalunya dengar Changi Prison laki je kan. If you don't mind you boleh share tak you punya experience masuk dia kira DRC
Yes, DRC.
Okay, you boleh share tak you punya first experience?
Okay, when 2011 tu I kena. Then of course lah terperanjat gila ni kan. So after that the first person I call my mom. Okay, to inform her that I call je, I cakap mak aku dah kena tangkap. Actually 1 week before that lah 1 week before night stay sebelum I kena tu minggu sebelum I kena tangkap tu I dah memang really teruk teruk because my weight jejak 32 kg.
What? 32?
32 kg.
Tadi ingat dumbbell kat gym.
Dah macam jerangkung dalam almari.
32
Yeah.
Okay.
So my mom risau lah actually. She aware that what happened. I mean I tengah on drugs kan. So every day dia akan call I, Sudahlah berhenti. So I told her that nak berhenti tapi tak berhenti kan. So 1 week after that bila I kena tangkap tu I call her, I inform her, I cakap dengan dia that time I think dalam pukul 12.30 hari 12 lebih lagi tu So dia balik sekolah primary school masa tu, early primary dalam pukul 1 if I'm not wrong. That time nak pergi ambil dia lah, actually dah plan kan semua, memang selalu I ambil dia balik sekolah. Then after that my mom terperanjat lah. My mom cakap kau kena tangkap kat mana? I cakap tak boleh berbual banyak. I cakap tahu mak dah kena tangkap, mak pergi uruskan Haziq. No, I just told her that way lah. But of course the way I talk to her like macam senang aja kau berbual but because I'm not sober at that moment.
Okay.
So the way we talk, the way we punya reaction macam bukan manusia lah, gitu kan.
Correct.
So I just told so I just told her lah, I cakap ni mesti confirm mak kena angkat. Jadi mak ambil Haziq kan balik sekolah. Dia macam terperanjat lah. Dia cakap ya Allah dah. Okay bye. Tak. Then after that bawa balik lah.
Tapi before I think you share your experience masuk DRC ni I want to touch on bila pasal you cakap you kena tangkap ni Haziq is around already. Boleh tak you share dengan kita bila time you heavy? I can say that you are quite heavy, right? The moment bila you tahu that you are pregnant with Haziq, what was the story?
Ini ada pelik sikit lah.
Okay.
Pasal masih I got to know yang I got him right. Early stage I think 4 weeks 6 weeks like that. Dia automatically tolak ni semua benda.
Oh, serious?
Rokok semua dia tolak.
Okay.
Dia tak nak baik sejuk gantung dia. Everything tak nak. Semua I buang.
Okay.
Automatically dia sendiri gitu tak tahu kenapa kan.
Rokok pun semua
buang.
Badan you tak ada accept ke atau is it the mindset you yang macam ni anak aku?
No, it's just that I cannot.
Okay.
I don't want. Orang pun tak boleh isap rokok depan I. Dia pengen dengar dia kan. Jadi so that is where that I stopped for about 1 year plus lah. Lepas habis pantang everything semua. Clear bila once dapat tahu I sangkut dia kan, ada dia je kan, terus I buang semua.
Jadi bila you dah when Haziq was born, memang did you ada tanam niat yang macam kalau aku dah stop for this 9 months I'm gonna all the way je lah stop?
Tak ada. Terus terang cakap tak ada. Tak ada.
Kira isu boleh share tak macam mana, kenapa you ada perasaan macam gitu? I
rasa pembawakan dia.
Okay.
Ni I'm not putting words tapi memang pembawakan dia. Dia tak suka benda tu.
Faham.
Ini pembawakan. So because I change 360 degree during I pregnant him.
Okay.
Tak pakai tudung, nak pakai tudung lah. You know, and okay lah bila that you know when I early stage of pregnancy, I macam tak boleh orang hisap rokok depan I, all that kind of stuff, you know. And honestly, I suka baca buku-buku Nabi. Tak tahu pasal saya cakap tiba-tiba 360 pedigree ni pengalaman masih ngandung dia lah kan. Macam like asal tiba-tiba aku baik soalan pun tak bertanya lah, you know. But sometimes bila dah jadi macam keadaan hidup kita tu, tapi masa aku ngandung dia asal aku boleh jadi baik gitu you know. So lepas saya lahirkan dia terus macam hilang perasaan tu semua. So I take it has like pembawakan lah.
Hilang. Okay, bila cakap hilang tu, when was the first moment lepas Haziq has already been born, tiba-tiba dia punya temptation datang balik, dia punya relapse tu datang balik?
Bila lama ni, dah 23 tahun lalu. I think lepas saya habis pantang semua.
Okay.
So I start to feel that
jumpa balik kawan lama ke atau macam mana tu?
Itu lah.
Alamak.
Kawan lama.
Habis daripada you tengah jaga Haziq lah?
Yes, jaga juga. Cuma because that time I dengan my in-laws kan. So most of the time nenek dia lah yang jaga dia. Pasal first kan dapat dia. So ini dia. Okay, so tadi bila you were talking about the moment you kena tangkap, bila you kena tangkap tu umur Haziq berapa?
I think I was primary 3.
Primary 3 means it's 9 years old. Okay. Do you mind me asking dalam this journey of your 9 years because based on apa you share dekat CMB juga, you witness your mum punya drug abuse and everything. As a young kid, bila you nampak, you know, what were you thinking?
I was quite curious lah, what was she doing, especially like quite suspicious lah. So sometimes go to her, she asked me to go away. Yeah, then I just as a kid don't know anything, just do other stuff lah. Yeah.
Jadi bila I think primary 3 tu yang your mum kena tangkap, what was your reaction actually?
To be honest, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, like how you say, no emotion. Because it was a heated moment lah. I'm not, how you say, macam not close to her. Because I don't know who is she, who she was lah. Yeah, so when I heard that she got arrested, then I'm like, oh okay.
Macam mana you tahu yang mum kena arrested? Someone inform you?
Nenek tell me lah. Yeah. Yeah, like, oh okay. And just continue, go on with life lah. Yeah.
Tapi why can I ask macam kenapa you ada perasaan macam ni? Because macam mana pun they say that sejak mak kita pun macam mana pun kita need that mother's love. Is it because of that 9 years you don't feel that?
Ada gitu juga, tak rasa macam I don't feel demi sayang lah. To be honest, pasal she was not sober.
Okay.
So yeah, at a young age I don't know what she doing. Then biasalah macam kena marah benda yang kecil, tak tahu asal kena marah untuk benda kecil lah saya cakap. Then gitu-gitu I hated her lah basically. Yeah, so I hated her and so until she got arrested, I still feel hated. I felt hated lah. The hatred was there lah. Yeah.
And then for Susanti juga, bila you dah kena tangkap, you boleh share you punya journey bila you masuk DRC.
Okay. When I was caught, bila dia hantar ke DRC, that time I think Tanah Merah, if I'm not wrong.
Tanah Merah, okay.
So of course perasaan tu more on like terperanjat.
Okay.
Dia kira macam ya Allah, Tuhan je yang tahu lah. Dia rasa sakit tapi tak tahu, bukan sakit macam you putus cinta ke apa, it's not that, you know. It's feeling very 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 painful lah. Because actually the first thing in my mind is that siapa nak uruskan anak aku ni?
Faham.
You know, baru ingat anak kata orang kan, masih sedap hisap kau tak ingat anak kata mak. Kan. So macam like itulah. Then throughout the 6 months, I was inside for 6 months. Early of the stage tu I banyak nangis.
Okay.
Nangis sampai orang cakap, kau ni asyik nangis kenapa? You know, it's actually, terus terang cakap, rasa sakit tu sebenar-benarnya lah that I miss him.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I feel that macam before this memang ada orang lain, macam I ada mak mentua yang boleh jaga dia. I trust them to take care of my son. Cuma macam like kadang-kadang kita ni sebagai ibu, perasaan seorang ibu, you know, boleh ke orang telayan anak aku ni? Anak aku nakal ke, anak aku apa? But I believe that he's a good boy, you know. So kerana terlalu sakit tu nangis lah. Nangis kan. Then how I overcome it is like ni bab kata orang tu, I start to solat, I start to mengaji, my own business, you know. I tak kacau orang. Cuma yalah, the impact of being there masih, you know, when kita kat dalam penjara tu, I lupa perkataan dia. Kata orang tu kena body search, you know. Kau nak masuk sel, kau keluar sel, kau nak kena body search, kau nak kena
culture shock lah kira.
Culture shock. Kira macam, ya Allah, macam like the feeling is like, terus terang lah, dia buat I rasa macam maruah I lah. Something to do with about my maruah.
Correct.
You know, walaupun semua perempuan pun mem ke, imit pun perempuan ke, tapi itu soal maruah aku. Tak biasa kan, takkan nak pergi lepas orang kan. Walaupun perempuan sama perempuan, so I tak biasa. So slowly I have to adapt lah. Actually that is prison punya cara, you know. And kenal kawan-kawan kat situ juga, you know. So during my time I feel that ada ujian dia juga kat dalam. Okay, ujian soal how to say that word, lesbianism
Oh lesbianism. Kita dekat prison panggil adik-adik, ketomite. Dekat CWP kita panggil apa? Dia panggil apa?
Panggil apa? Abang. So at first memang I never get involved, you know, but I saw things happen there. You know, then on top of that, I kira actually my mind lah perasaan tu, pasal just to pass time actually. You know, the pass time, you know. So bila cakap dia ni send kau gini so, send balik. You know, that kind of stuff, you know. So cuma masih I kat dalam tu, whatever I witness happen, tu satu pengajaran lah. There's one time, ini pengalaman I rasa not me also. And the time masa tu bulan puasa. And I saw things happen in front of me. So I belajar sesuatu lah. I cakap dengan diri aku ni kat dalam ni, bukan kata jadi baik lah, you know, tapi aku boleh mengelakkan dari melihat benda-benda yang tak baik. Tapi it happen pun aku tertengok juga benda-benda yang tak baik, you know.
Tak baik tu macam mana tu? Boleh tak elaborate sikit? Dah cakap macam gini kan, terus cakap aja. Benda tak baik tu benda macam mana tu? Jom kita nak dengar juga ni.
When you talk about lesbian, things happen lah.
Lesbian, things apa tu actually? Apa, Aziz dah 23 Aziz dah dengar
you know, project, you know, that kind of stuff, buat benda-benda gitu kan. So but I don't judge. Macam it's more on myself. Apa yang I nampak tu semua adalah satu pengajaran untuk diri I. I tak katalah nama kau dia ni jahat, dia ni teruk. No, I'm not that sort of person, you see. So cuma macam ingat kat luar je lah kan, macam I cakap tadi kan. So that is the part where quite tercabar juga. Pasal kalau kat luar tu, kalau kita nampak, kita bilang kat kaki jalan lah. Kat situ kau dah nampak, kau nak buat apa?
Nampak apa tu?
Orang buat kerja.
Kira memotek lah.
Memotek lah. You know, takkan kau nak kat kaki pergi mana? Kau pergi mana tepi corner pun kau nampak.
Because you are in a cell, tapi korang nampak orang memotek. Tapi kita pun macam, tapi tak awkward ke gitu?
Tak lah, I tak.
Dah it's a normal kira.
It's normal. For me is that this is individual. You know, for me when I see things that okay lah, tu kapihal lah. No? Cuma yalah, another part tu kata orang tu, ni pengalaman yang I rasa that I tak boleh lupakan lah, tapi still in my mind lah. You know. So there's a time when kata orang tu bila nak buat solat, you know, it happens that ni kalau aku cerita ni tak dalam bingit
cerita je, it's okay. Kasih dia teringat balik.
Kata orang tu itu yang part sedih jugalah, touch me when nak lakukan solat tu. kita kat depan lakukan solat, yang kat belakang bergendang. Oh bang kau.
Bergendang.
Bergendang.
Oh, tu word dia bergendang.
Dia bergendang.
Okay.
So it's like the question is that when I saw all this happen, I cakap lah, kenapa bangsa aku sendiri lah, that kind of feeling, sedangkan I masih nak solat tu, yang budak Cina sini, diorang kat dalam, diorang people call me Susan.
Okay.
Susan, come. Diorang mentangkan tika, do your prayers,
They respect the religion lah.
Kan? So that is one part lah. Tapi yalah, masing-masing mungkin for people to react like that, I believe ada sebab-sebab tertentu.
Betul.
Tapi tak ada musuh. They are still also my friend until today.
I think it's a norm lah benda macam ini dekat dalam kan. Tapi I think ni kita nak take a short break dulu, pasal I also want to know for Haziq juga waktu your mom dekat dalam, how was life for you dekat luar lah as a student, because at point of time you were primary 3.
Primary 3.
Kan, primary 3. Then what was how did you face dengan kawan-kawan yang tahu that mak kau kat dalam, how do you face. So nanti kita akan patah balik. We will take a short break. So nanti boleh sambung cerita gendang tu. So okay guys, kita akan take a break. Kita akan jumpa lagi korang in the next episode with That Settle.